depicted in this HD digital film, in which a chance meeting with a stranger turns into a heart-to-heart talk about issues that affect women.
I was inspired by a lady called Sarah Bartman, and she was taken from South Africa in the 19th century. She was exhibited in human zoos in London and in Paris. She was turned into a sex slave, and she was basically paraded around like an animal behind cages. When she died, they cut out her brain and her genitals, and they put it in jars and put it in a museum. So I was inspired to tell her story because that still happens today. Young women all around the world are still being trafficked and are still being mutilated, are still being used as sex slaves. So I wanted to tell this story to raise awareness of that.
I find it strange that we want to be somebody else. We want to have other people's hair. We want to look like, want to dress like, instead of trying to find out who we are, what we are comfortable with, and then be that person. So I'm kind of making a jest of the way women tend to behave these days, the way we dress.
Other artists like Elisia Bolarushi are also inspired by movies. It shows in her concept called Via Kuta, a weaving method which originated from the need to use yarn as an alternative tool for painting.
The constant is the yarn. I always work with threads, wool, fabric as an alternative tool for painting. And basically I'm basically focused with geometry. That's my main subject. So it's color and geometry. So I started painting with yarn, I started doing sculpture with yarn, and then I started inserting light, so developing actually installation with lamps.
We were charged with the femme fatale theme, and literally we wanted to go back to our roots. We're originally from Delta State, Washakiri. So Umalakun was, how to say, an
she's a Shakiri deity. She's prayed to by men. She's also called the kingmaker. So
she actually exists across numerous traditions across the southern region of Nigeria.
She's known as Mami Water. That's basically Umalakun, who is the ultimate femme fatale figure. And we thought to express this through costume, which we interpreted as modern masquerade. So there's a lot of symbolism in the piece.
It's just it's a dialogue between the concept of this femme fatale figure as she exists in this Umalakun deity and her dialogue with the everyday woman. We all have a bit of that femme fatale in us. Our particular medium is textiles and garments, so literally we use that to give life to this concept of the femme fatale.
And there are so many interesting interpretations seen through the eyes of 4 other minds who are hoping to change the fortunes of women for the better, or at least call attention to some of these issues with their works of art.
Felix Edubo was born in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Between 1935 and 1942, he attended St. Matthew Primary School, Benin in 1945 at the age of 23. The young man moved to Lagos, where he attended evening lectures to improve his educational background with working privately and selling wood carvings to Hausa traders, before proceeding to the prestigious Royal College of Art in London, where he studied art, domestic arts, which included wood and ivory carvings. A Nigerian sculptor, An African city with a rich history of artistic excellence, was part of a young group of artists in the 1950s and 1960s who raised awareness of the artistic consciousness of African tradition in an emerging social milieu. He's sometimes considered one of the pioneers of Nigerian contemporary art. In 1966, he opened Nigeria's first contemporary art gallery in Kakawa Street, Lagos, and was very successful in door carvings, which was commissioned to carve doors for prominent firms and individuals such as the Corporate Bank Building at Ibadan and the House of Parliament in Lagos. In the late 1950s, he earned a scholarship to study at the Royal College of Art in London after his work gained critical acclaim during an exhibition to coincide with Queen Elizabeth's visit to Nigeria's sculpture. He was awarded UNESCO Traveling Fellowship in 1957. This took him to Britain and other parts of Europe and was actively involved in the organization of the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, FESTAC, that held in Lagos in 1977.
You can enjoy Arthouse on any of these platforms.
That's how we draw the curtain on this week's edition of the program. But as always, the conversation continues online. All our platforms are on your screen. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Thank you so much for watching.